Today, we're going to be covering or continuing our series on wellness when it comes to optimizing physical fitness. So, week one, we went over the introduction to resistance training. Week two, we went over, which would be last week, we went over cardiovascular fitness. And week three, today, we're going to be going over combining strength and cardio for maximal results. Today can be a very quick lesson. I don't want to keep you guys very long. I incorporated my own weekly workout regimen in this. I switch from pure hypertrophy to strength training every 2 months. So I'll do 2 months of hypertrophy and then 1 month of strength training and then back. And so I made a PDF for you guys if you want to get into it that I can shoot out into the chat. Besides that, we only have 2 sections, that second section being that full workout regimen. So for those of you who want to stay for that, you can. But for everybody who just wants to know why it's important, we'll go over that in part 1. So we have 2 parts, as I mentioned. Part 1 being balancing strength training and cardio for overall fitness. We have the importance of balance in frequency and intensity for those. So that's part 1. And then part 2 is going to be creating a weekly workout plan. And I've incorporated mine, but you also have to keep in mind what your goals are. If your goals are to run a marathon, you're going to be including much more cardio than I would be. And if you're going for to win a strongman award, you're going to be doing much more strength training than I might be. So it depends on what your goals are. You have to make those for yourselves. But I have a really well-rounded workout plan for those of us who are looking to be not only strong and fit and improve our skeletal muscle for immune function and hormone benefits and overall health, as well as our cardiovascular fitness to maintain a lower heart rate, improve our endurance, and keep off any weight that you might not want to. So it really depends on your goals. So like I mentioned, I won't keep you guys for too long. Let's go ahead and jump into it. And if at any time you guys have questions or you want me to expand on a topic, please just go ahead and stop me, and I will share that PDF at the end of the lesson. And for those of you on YouTube, I will figure out how to put the PDF there as well. All right, jumping into it. Balancing strength training and cardio for overall fitness. So the importance of balance. So strength training, it builds muscle, improves bone density, boosts metabolism, and enhances functional strength. So your day-to-day activities. We also know that once we hit around 30 years of age, our muscle will start to degrade over time unless it's offset by muscle training, by hypertrophy. So it's super important, especially as we get older, to incorporate resistance training in our weekly activities. It primarily focuses on anaerobic activity that supports muscular endurance and power. Pretty straightforward definitions here. Cardio training improves cardiovascular health, obviously, boosts endurance, and promotes efficient oxygen use throughout the body. So again, it's really just if your goal is just to be a high functioning human who doesn't get out of breath when they need to run to their gate, when they're running late for a flight or whatever it might be, or going up the stairs, and you want to, maybe you have family history of heart attacks and you just want to offset that, well, you're going to need cardio. You're going to have to train your heart the same way you might train your muscles. So cardiovascular health helps with endurance. It promotes efficient oxygen use throughout the body. And it's an anaerobic activity, which is essentially heart health and weight management is, the baseline definitions of it. And so finding the right balance, like I mentioned earlier, really does depend on what your goals are. Truly, you have to sit down, and maybe you have not worked out your entire life. And that will catch up to you, unfortunately, and you're probably already feeling it, but your baseline may be lower than it should be. So your normal is degraded, and you may feel okay where you're at right now, but truly, I tell you, if you were to incorporate cardiovascular training, resistance training, and a better diet, your baseline would be elevated and you would feel much better overall. You'd have more energy. You'd have more will to do hard things, which is essential, we know, for reaching the goals and aspirations we have in life. So just an encouragement, a reminder for wherever you are of whatever stage to increasingly get better over time. And if you don't care about having, for the aesthetics reasons, having nice muscles, or you're like, oh, I'm not a runner, I won't ever need to run, I'm not going to train cardio, that's okay too. But you need to focus on also the broader benefits of this resistance training and cardiovascular health. We know that when people work out, when they incorporate your resistance training, that your overall hormone function improves, your immune function improves, your body fights off diseases better. And if you include cardio training into this, you're also helping with your overall baseline heart rate. Your hormones, like I mentioned, are regulated better. And especially when you incorporate cardio into that, your stress reduces as well. So things like epinephrine, norepinephrine, and cortisol will literally drop in your bloodstream. And we know that the consistent cortisol in our bloodstream is often a precursor to many diseases that will come later in life or already in you. So looking at the broader definition, if you're not an athlete, even though anybody with a body is an athlete, and you just don't have those fitness goals, that's okay too. But really think about what your overall health might look like if you don't start incorporating this stuff in 10 years, and 20 years, and 30 years, if we're blessed to be that old. You may not be able to function nearly at the level you think you could, just because we know after 30, our bodies really start to degrade over time, and we lose that muscle mass at whatever muscle mass you do have now. So again, we need to be thinking of this as, or from a holistic perspective, that this is not just about fitness and being able to move our bodies, which is amazing. We should, and we're born with this gift to be able to move. At least those of us who don't have major restrictions on our bodies, we should accept that gift and move forward. But on the flip side, like I mentioned, I'm not going to beat the dead horse here, but it is important for us to realize that there's so many benefits to this type of work. So moving on, let me see the chat real quick, take a pause. What's up, Juan? Would appreciate if you share that PDF. Absolutely. How many miles is recommended to run per week? So again, it definitely depends on your fitness goals. If you are training for a marathon, you're going to have to do mid runs, you're going to have to do short runs, you're going to have to do long runs. When I was training for the Rangers, I was running 35 miles a week at a minimum. So 5 miles a day, and it just depends on what your goals are. Like I said, if you have bad knees and you don't want to use running, or if your body has issues with impact, like I have a torn disc in my lower back. I tore both meniscus at one point, a couple torn ligaments in my legs. My body doesn't like to run anymore, unfortunately. So for me, running would be a monthly activity just because of the physical elements I have. But for someone who has really strong legs and a strong lower back and is fit overall, and their body's more suited for it, it just depends on your goals. I would recommend doing 3 different types of running if you're going to do it. If you enjoy running, go run every morning. I wouldn't recommend going for a long time with weight, but if you enjoy running, go run. But you might want to try sprinting every week. So do 12 rounds of really hard sprints for 30 seconds, and then you pause for a minute, then you do it again for 12 rounds. And then I would go for a mid run, something, in the 2 to 5 mile range, 2 to 4 mile range. And then if you want to go for a long run, go for a long run, do a half marathon if that's what works for you. But definitely depends on your goals. And if you want to talk about your goals, I'd be happy to help you on the side. And in my DMs, please feel free to reach out. So talking about frequency and intensity. So when it comes to strength training, we want to train 2 to 4 times a week. I train 4 times a week with strength, and I break that up into 3-4 sections. That's going to be my push day. So I'll have everything, typically chest, tris, shoulders on that day. And then I'll have back day, which includes bicep, and then my entire back, upper back that is, and my lats. I'll do leg day, which is truly almost every muscle except for a few smaller muscles when it comes to legs. And then I'll do core day, and I'll do weighted exercises for my core. So that's my resistance training. And then for cardio, I only do it 2 times a week. I am working on actually increasing that number just to help with, again, this overall health. I'm not looking to be a high endurance athlete, but what I am looking to do is offset disease that is to come. And my family has heart disease, unfortunately. And we also know that it's extremely beneficial for mental health as well. So there, again, I'm looking at the bigger picture when it comes to training cardio. And so I'm only doing it 2 times a week with incorporations of doing daily walks, moving my body throughout the day. I'm not stagnant. That would be zone 1 cardio, where we're moving, but we're still able to maintain a full conversation. Like if you were going on a walk after lunch with your coworker, that's what zone 1 cardio would be. Zone 2, which I train on Fridays, is where you keep your heart rate at a consistent rate, or you try to, and you maintain the same pace for 30 to 40 minutes. And for me, I do that on the stationary bike. If I can swim, I swim. Unfortunately, the gym I'm at currently does not have a pool. And if you guys know anything about the lakes around and rivers around Alabama, I'm not too friendly with the alligators and the murky waters around here, so I stay out of those as well. But 30 to 40 minutes of consistent pace where it's hard, it would be really hard for you to hold a conversation without running out of breath. That's kind of where you're aiming for. It's typically like 70 to 80% of your max heart rate, or 65 to 75% of your max heart rate. And then on Saturdays is something called zone 3 cardio, and that would be HIIT training, the high intensity interval training, or I guess it would just be HIIT workout, not HIIT training. And so that's what I was talking about with sprints. It would be really hard pushes of 30 seconds to a minute with rests of a minute to 90 seconds, and then you get back to it. And those typically go back by pretty quickly, because you're only doing my HIIT workouts typically last for 20-ish minutes, and then with a 5-minute warm-up, 5-minute cool down, I'm out of the gym in 30 minutes, which is really nice. And for me, I do that on the rowing machine. I'll row as hard as I can for 45 seconds typically. I can't even push to a minute. Like physically, I will not be able to keep the pace I'm keeping for more than 45 or 30 seconds. And then I'll break for 60 seconds, and then I'll do it again. And I'll typically do that for anywhere from 8 to 12 rounds. It really depends on how hard I'm pushing and how much oxygen I can really inhale. So it just depends on your goals, like I was mentioning. So cardio, again, 2 to 5 times a week. You can push cardio to every day. For strength training, if you're really looking to do hypertrophy, so much muscle growth, which I think should be the goal for most of us. And I'm not talking about getting jacked or yoked or whatever you want to call it. What I'm talking about is improving muscle health. So you're not only working the muscle, but you're breaking it down, and it's able to repair itself to better take on the load that you just put on it the first time. So that will help us. And like I said, after the age of 30, we know that muscle atrophy really starts to kick in, and up to 5% of your skeletal muscle will essentially degrade within a year. Every year after, especially in your 50s to 60s, that really starts to step in. So if you're not offsetting that with resistance training, you're going to run into problems sooner rather than later. And so 2 to 4 times for strength training, 2 to 5 times for cardio training. I would limit your HIIT exercises. If you're someone who really likes to sprint, just make sure that your sprints aren't, you're not maxing your heart rate for more than 2 times a week, probably 2 or 3 times. And when I say maxing your heart rate, I'm talking about like 90%. 100% is the real life and death situations. You're going to want to maintain that. I wouldn't push that hard, but to each their own. So that's my overall on today's lesson. I do have, for those of you who are interested, that PDF I created for a generalized workout plan with 4 bouts of resistance training and 2 bouts of cardio. And just to keep in mind, throughout the week, you should be getting that zone 1 cardio where you're moving or taking a walk after lunch, maybe a walk outside in the morning to get that nice sunlight on you, or maybe you go to walk and watch the sunset. We should be aiming for 200 minutes of that zone 1 cardio per week. Again, being able to maintain a conversation while still moving your body. So if you guys are interested, we can jump into that here. It won't be too long. We were only 20 minutes into this. So if you guys are interested, let me know in the chat, and then I can run through quickly what my workout regimen looks like and what I would recommend to a lot of people. And if not, then we'll wrap it up there, and then I can shoot out that PDF to you guys later. What do you think? Should we jump into some quick exercises, what a workout might look for you? Let me know. I need some feedback here, folks. Maybe if you guys just stay on, I'll just run through it. Let me read the chat real quick. Do you take anything for joint health and function? So joint health, one, we know protein is good for joint health. Collagen specifically, the BCAAs in collagen, you're not going to find in typical whey protein, or in collagen you find in almost all beef, in most animal proteins as well, but it's not in sufficient amounts typically if you're looking to truly improve joint health. So that's what I take. I know there's specific, but it's also general use. Collagen's used for skin health and other things. So if you're looking for specific joint supplement improvements, I would definitely recommend looking into it. I can look into it for you. I always love doing that. Oh yeah, omega-3 is also going to be good for you. So my diet for whole foods is typically well-rounded. I try to get seafood in once a week. I wish I could do more. It's just expensive. And I do beef typically 7 days a week. And then I'll also incorporate chicken 5 days a week. But fish, it has a lot of omega-2s, omega-3 fatty acids. It's going to be good for your joint health. So definitely look into that. But if you go to Costco, they sell a big thing of wild caught Alaskan salmon fish oil, and it's all omega-3 organic. It's good stuff, and it's relatively cheap. So you could look into that. Yeah, it's hard. I'm going to be honest with you. It's hard to find a supplement that's just so, you take it and it covers everything. It's just unfortunately not realistic. We need to be getting our nutrients from many different sources, and that's why there's an abundance of food on earth, and we should be getting variety of foods in our diet. And it's not only healthy to get those nutrients in and those vitamins, but it's also healthy for our gut microbiome, and facilitating an environment for those microbes to really be able to take on a lot of diversity. And it also helps them fight off sickness when you ingest something that is bad or stale or whatever it might be. So I didn't hear a no, so I'm going to just run through the workout quickly. I won't get into how to do the exercises. You can look it all up. I'll put the PDF, and so you'll be able to copy and paste to YouTube if you want to look up how to do them. Or if you want to DM me, like I said, even on YouTube for those viewers, shoot a comment out, and I will be happy to work with you to come up with a fitness and a workout regimen for you. So I call this a workout regimen alpha because I have two. I have alpha and bravo. And I have, as a precursor, a warm-up every day. If I'm hitting legs, I'm on the stationary bike for typically 5 minutes to warm up the legs, to increase blood flow, just get ready to move. And I also stretch a little bit, quick stretches before I get started. Then I also cool down. For my cool down for leg days, especially because of my back problems, I really like to stretch as a cool down. If you're able to complete the sets in order, that's cool. What you should focus on if you are going to get into resistance training is whatever your the part of your body that you want to work out on the most. So say for you, it's your calves. You want to increase your calves. That's for me, my calves are pretty small. If I was a bit shorter, I'm sure they would look much better. But your nervous system is primed when you have not exerted work. So you can put out more work at the beginning of your workout exercises, or your exercises, I should say. And so I would recommend whatever muscle group you want to improve on the most, put that towards the top of your workout. So after a quick warm up and you're primed, you can really push hard during those first few sets. That's why I also recommend putting your compound movements at the beginning of sets. Like if you're doing Bulgarian split squats, I highly recommend putting those towards the top of your workout, so you're able to push out more during that exercise. And I know for a lot of never mind, that was besides the point. Another rabbit hole I'd love to get down. So moving on. So Sunday's my rest day. I focus on my circadian rhythm, hydration, diet, stress mitigation, that is, relationships, skin and oral routine. Your oral routine is super important. If you didn't know, the blood-brain barrier in your mouth is one of the fastest in your body to be able to cross. So if you have something in your mouth, like a disease, or like say gum disease starts to grow, that can cross the blood-brain barrier quicker than most anything else in your body. And so it can lead to death like really quickly. And unfortunately, it happens to thousands of people every year. It's just like, oh, what happened? Well, something happened with his mouth and he ended up dying like a couple weeks into it. So keep your mouth clean. It's this wet, constantly moist place that you always shove bacteria into. So you have to be thinking like that. Like if that was an open wound on your body, you would really try to keep that clean. You should be thinking of your mouth in the same way. Many of us don't, and many of us suffer because of it, unfortunately. I focus on spiritual growth on Sundays as well. And then also zone 1 cardio, like we talked about, going and walking and stuff. So Monday for me is legs. I do legs because, or I put legs on Monday just because most people, if you guys are into gym culture, know that most people do chest on Mondays. One, the machines are typically more freed up, but also it's really hard for me. Leg days is the hardest day for me. So I put it at the start of the week, do something hard to get that momentum rolling, and then you can kind of ease into the weekend. I like to do. So I do calf raises, seated ham curls, Romanian deadlifts, Bulgarian split squats, leg extensions, and then I do hip abductions and adductions. So essentially I'm hitting every major muscle group in the body, or in the legs rather. And again, I'm not going to really go into this stuff, but if you guys are looking for some main big takeaways there, what I would recommend is integrating some compound movements. So say the squat or the hack squat would be really good for it depends where you place your legs and whatnot, but it's good for your overall legs to gain strength and stability. And so I'd incorporate a compound movement. My compound movement is Bulgarian split squats. So highly recommend those. They're extremely difficult as well. I never ever want to do them, which we also know is good for you to do. And then Romanian deadlifts are also a really good one, not only for your glutes, but your hamstrings. So that posterior chain, that it really helps with your hip hinge movement. So if you have lower back problems, Romanian deadlifts are really going to help you with your lower back problems. You also have to incorporate stretching and direct core strengthening to help your back, but Romanian deadlifts is a really good start. And then everything else, you'll see in the PDF. Those are really the big takeaways. Try to do single leg movements like Bulgarian split squats and compound movements as well. Okay, let me check the chat really quick, guys. I'll take a small break here. Let's see. I'm afraid to go to the gym to work out because I think they will look at me the wrong way and I'm uncomfortable. At the same time, they say it's not a problem and everyone actually helps each other there. Yeah, I can definitely attribute to that latter part of your statement. I know it's definitely intimidating to get in the gym, especially when you don't know what you're doing. And so that's what I hope to help you with here is I'm going to shoot out that PDF. What you can do if you want to kind of follow something similar to my regimen, you can look at the PDF and then just punch in all of these exercises into YouTube and be like, oh, well, that's how you do that. Okay, well, I'm just going to find this machine, this seated ham curl machine, and I'm going to go perform those exercises just like John put out, 3 sets of 8 to 12 reps. And then I already know what I'm going to do for my next one. My next one's Romanian deadlifts. I watch a YouTube video before I went to the gym, and that confidence, at least you know how to do the exercises. And then you can just start really, really light. What's funny is a lot of people, it's very interesting to see how much people grow mentally when they start going to the gym. Your confidence goes up, your mental health improves, you see a reduce in overall stress. And so I would highly recommend, even if you are scared, it is really good for you to get outside of your comfort zone and go to the gym for so many reasons. Just if you are really brand new to working out, start so light. You should really be leaving, if you're going for the muscle failure, like really pushing it, leave 4 in the tank at least. Like, just go through the movement, know what a bicep curl feels like, and don't strain yourself. The number one thing I should emphasize when going to the gym is injury prevention. You have to start off slow and then really build into it. And once you start to build that mind to muscle connection and your nervous system gets used to that movement and how to move that weight, you'll really start to be able to increase weight and push up. And those new beginner gains you'll see are so fun. When you first get in the gym, you'll be able to start lifting 5 pounds or increase weight 5 pounds, 10 pounds, like on squats or bench press. You'll start to jump up 15, 20 pounds for the first couple weeks, and as your body's getting used to those movements. So it's really cool. I don't want to keep this lesson too long, so I'll move right along into push day. Again, I try to incorporate compound movements and then single arm variations. Again, just trying to keep symmetry while also keeping being able to push good weight. So I have dumbbell incline bench press. We know for incline bench press, if you're only going to do one thing between decline, flat bench, and incline is the best if you're only going to do one for overall chest growth. I have the clavicular press around. You'll have to look that one up. It's pretty fun. I have overhead press, dumbbell overhead press, where you just sit down. I sit down because of my back, and press up overhead. Pretty straightforward. We have cable push downs. So that's going to be at the cable machine where you just push down for your triceps. Pretty straightforward. The lateral raises, you can use dumbbells. I prefer the cable machine to do those. Those are just lifting your arm outside to grow that lateral delt, the medium delt. And then push-ups. I think just functional health overall, push-ups is a good compound movement to be able to do. And again, even if you have a really strong chest and really strong shoulders and triceps, if your body's not used to doing push-ups, you're not going to be able to do a lot of them. So I just think push-ups are good. For pull day, moving right into it, I'm working on pull-ups. So I incorporate pull-ups. It's really good for your lats, your scapular plane. It moves your scapulas in a full range of motion. So I really like them just because I've had issues with my shoulders, and hanging from the bar and doing that full scapular movement all the way through really helps with that shoulder pain. And it's a great way to just build mass overall. So I'm doing weighted pull-ups at this point. But if you're just getting started, there's lots of machines at the gyms where you can do assisted pull-ups where it has a weight and you just basically put your knees on that thing and it's like a counterbalance. So as you pull up, it's pushing you up at the same time to help you if you can't do a pull-up yet. I have lat pull downs, single arm lat pull downs. So that's at the cable machine again, just pulling down. I have cable rows. This is a compound exercise that I've really come to like more and more as I mature in the gym. It's really good for your traps especially, but your overall upper back as well, your rear delts and a few other small muscles, your rotator cuff even. I'll get back to that in a moment, but it's a really strong overall exercise for your upper back. I have underhand barbell rows. Again, another big compound movements where you can go a bit heavier, focusing mainly. I do underhand for your lats, and then I have bicep curls, and I work on my forearms as well. I don't mean to get too in the weeds here with all this stuff, guys. I know I'm going to be sending out that PDF, but I do, for those of you who want to ask questions real time, I do want to work through these exercises with you guys. And then I forgot to mention, for push day, I have something torn in my shoulder. I'm actually getting an MRI Thursday. So I start all my exercises with external and internal rotator cuff exercises. So that could be if you get a dumbbell and you can rest your elbow on your knee. Say this hand was my knee. I would just do this with a dumbbell, and it could be 5 pounds just to get that rotator cuff activated. You can also activate it with a cable machine. So say the cable machine is that way and it's pulling my arm that way. I would then pull my arm this way, and then I turn around and I do the same thing. It's really just activating that rotator cuff. One, it's direct work to help strengthen it, but it really helps when you go to do like an incline dumbbell press. It's when your rotator cuffs are not activated and they have no warm up, and then you go to push that big weight. A lot of times people run into issues with their labrum, their rotator cuff, their bicep tendon, because it's not activated, and you just really start to push hard. It's got nowhere to move, and then something ends up tearing. So again, the name of the game when it comes to resistance training and overall health is injury prevention. So you should be doing all these warm-ups and start really slow as you integrate and start to move to heavier weights. I wish I knew all of this when I started in the gym. Man, I'd be healthier. And then here we come to core. I'll move through this stuff quickly. I have the squatting anti-rotation press. I got this from Olympic lifters. Those they're big compound movements. The clean and presses and deadlifts and squats, those types of movements. Olympic level athletes also use this, and you'll have to look it up. It's an interesting one to explain. I have standing oblique crunches. So this is, you just grab one dumbbell in one hand, and then with a neutral hip, all you do is let that dumbbell pull your core down, and then you flex your core on the other side hard, and then you'll bring your chest back to neutral. So it's just to work those obliques. And again, when we talk about core, a lot of us think of our core as only our abs. Our core is so much more than that. There's literally dozens of small muscles that surround your spine and your lower back. We have multiple muscle groups on our sides and with our obliques and surrounding our obliques, moving up towards our rib cage. And then we have our abdominals. So you got to focus on core more than just your abs. So we have that standing, the anti-rotation press, the standing oblique crunches. I also incorporate isometric movements like strict planks. So I have strict planks on there. I do back extensions as well. Again, that's direct lower back focused work. So those of you who do have lower back issues, I don't recommend starting with this. You're going to have to work on stretching and in opening up your hips, opening up your thoracic, your upper back. And then once you have a good idea of what you can move and what feels good without pain, then you can start incorporating direct lower back work. It's just going to take probably a couple weeks, but it is well worth it. I'll tell you that. I do hanging leg raises. You're just hanging from a pull-up bar, and you raise your legs up. I try to touch my ankles to the bar overhead. Jefferson curls. These are essentially deadlifts, but you have a fully rounded lower back. If you ever grew up in sports, I'm sure a lot of traditional strength training will always tell you to work in a neutral spine. But as we know, and it's pretty intuitive for most of us to know that when you are operating at a normal level in life, you're moving your spine all the time in all sorts of different ranges. It's not always neutral. So Jefferson curls, I urge you, those with back problems and those who are looking to stay away from back problems, to start with just body weight. Just go through the movement, get your body used to it, because if you add weight too early and you push too hard, it can lead to back issues pretty quickly. But essentially, it's a deadlift, but with a fully rounded back. And all you do is essentially you start from your neck and you work down your vertebrae. You bend your neck and then you just work your way down, continually bending over at the thoracic and then the lumbar, all the way down to your complete lower back. What do you call that? The S joints, I forget. But anyway, you just bend all the way over and then all the way up. You work one vertebrae at a time until your neck is fully upright again, and then you go back down and do it again. Anyway, sorry, probably a little too in depth, but moving through. I also have neck exercises you'll see on the PDF. Super important to train our neck. Why does no one tell us to train our neck? It's like a huge part of our body. Anyway, moving into cardio, I already went over this quickly, but on Friday, I do that zone 2 cardio, 60 to 70% of your max heart rate. Try to keep it consistent for 30 to 40 minutes. And then on Saturday, I have that HIIT workout, the zone 3 cardio, 80 to 90% of your max heart rate, 8 to 12 1-minute rounds with 1-minute rests. Oh, we got through it, folks. Thanks for sticking with me. So one last point before I let you guys go. Overall tips for recovery, hydration, and flexibility. So ensure 48 hours between working the same muscle groups. So when you get into the gym and all of a sudden you're like, oh man, I love this. I would recommend at least giving yourself 2 days between sets. So if you hit legs on Monday, don't hit legs again until probably Thursday if you really want to start pushing the legs, just to give yourself time, for muscle repair. If you continually work that muscle too much, you're not going to get optimal muscle growth and you'll feel excess pain. It's just no fun. Hydration, the more you work out, the more you're going to have to stay hydrated. Hydration as a whole, you guys should be doing much more anyway. Statistics tell us that for Americans, 70% of us are living in a constant state of dehydration. And I would imagine that's very, very similar for most nations in the world. So grab some sea salt, put that salt in your water in the morning. If you can find an electrolyte packet, like Element's really good. It has magnesium, potassium, and sodium. So you'll get all your electrolytes right in the morning. Another tip besides the sea salt that are really low cost or no cost is as soon as you wake up, just down some water, like 16 ounces of water is what I do as soon as I roll out of bed, just to start that hydration going. And then when I go to refill my water, I put that pinch of sea salt in it, and it just helps your body retain that water better. Man, I'm losing it today. And then flexibility, my last point. So if you are new to it and you start working out, if you're not working on flexibility, your muscles will start to get tighter. And so that's when people all of a sudden are like, I've never had back pain. Now I have back pain. And then you go through like, hey, what's your range of motion in your hips? And they're super, super tight in their hips. Well, that's a main cause. A lot of people will have a really tight lower back, and then they'll have their lower back and their abs are not strong, and then they'll have really tight hip flexors and really tight hamstrings, but their butt is really loose and their quads are really loose. So you have this chain where everything's pulling in one direction and everything's loose and weak in the other direction, and all that gets directed to your lower back. Like your hip flexors wrap under your hips and directly anchor to your lower back, and no one stretches their hip flexors, and they're like, I don't know why my back hurts. Well, how tight are your hip flexors and your hamstrings? We'll start there. So for those of you who just want to get started, if you are hitting leg day, my cool down for leg day is to stretch. It feels great. There are some studies showing that it actually increases muscle growth. I don't know how many studies have been done for that, but at a minimum, it helps maintain flexibility and it helps my lower back. And we know it's good for all sorts of things. So that's my last point, folks. I know that was probably a bit longer than I had. 45 minutes, not bad. So that's it, combining strength and cardio for maximum results. Again, this is our series on optimizing physical fitness. And the reason we're doing this in the trading Discord is, one, because it's a community. We're focused not only on making you money in the stock market and improving that aspect of your life, but we're looking at you as a person. If you are making tons of money, but you're physically extremely unfit, and in your later years, you're not going to be able to enjoy all that money you made because you can't get out of bed because of all these onset diseases that you gain from not taking care of your body, or whatever it might be. Your physical fitness has a direct effect on your mental health, on your spiritual health, and all of these things are 100% affecting every other aspect of your life. So, all this to say that if you want to be the top performing trader, the best trader that you can be, you also have to focus on your physical health, your mental health, your spiritual health. So that's why we're having these lessons, and also to help you be a more fit person. I mean, it's super important in life. And we know that now through the last couple weeks of this series. So I appreciate you guys joining up. Thanks for bearing with me. I will shoot out the PDF right now. Let me pull that up for you. Let me see where my downloads are. If you guys have questions, I have answers most likely. If I don't, I'll find them for you. So shoot them out in the chat. Let's see, downloads. Ooh, can I drag and drop? Boom. Yes, I can. Sometimes I love technology. Sometimes it's the bane of my existence. Okay, cool. I'm glad some of you guys liked it. I didn't get to read through. Let me see what some of you guys said. I'll read through the chat. Greg, I exercise on average 3 to 4 times in a week. And 2 weeks ago, I took a break because I felt sick, but I'm healthy now. But somehow I didn't get back to that exercise. But I found myself that I definitely miss it. At least I know I'm breaking my discipline and I have to get back to it. Please excuse me. Oh, no worries, Greg. No, I totally get what you're saying. I'm the same way. It's easy for us to fall out of these hard habits for valid excuses. When you are sick, you should not go to the gym. One, we know it does not help with your immune system. I'm not saying don't work out when you're sick. What I'm saying is don't push yourself when you're sick. You should get out, move your body if you're able to. I'm not saying go do a HIIT workout. Absolutely not. That actually hurts your immune system. But what you should focus on is sleep and recovery and optimal diet, all those good things to really help your immune system. But it's easy for us to fall into these excuses like, hey, I'm sick and now I'm better, but I didn't get back into it. It's fine. It happens to all of us. Just realize how important this stuff is. Like I said, on a bigger standpoint, it's not just about looking pretty in the mirror. It's really about your overall health, including your longevity, especially. And I think a lot of us do want a long and happy, healthy life. So this stuff's important. So get back in there, Greg. Me watching Sam Sulek videos and going hard on the gym. Yeah, dude, Sam Sulek is what's up. 360 pounds, but can't do one pull-up. Yeah, deadlifting is a super healthy exercise. Just really make sure your form is on point, because we know it can lead to herniated discs. That's a fact, unfortunately. Yeah, dude, depends how much you weigh too. Pull-ups can be really hard. Like I see there's a 300-pound lineman and I'm like, yeah, I don't expect him to be getting up on a pull-up bar. But it depends on your goals. What are your goals? If you're trying to be a well-rounded human and be able to move your body efficiently, you should probably work on some pull-ups. Be able to move your body and be in control over it. Slept on my desk, missed out most of the session, but thank you for the PDF. Appreciate it. We'll listen to the recording later. Absolutely. No worries, man. Go get that sleep. That sleep's important, man. Oh my goodness. What is the workout you would do if there was the only one you could do for the rest of your life? Like a single workout or like an exercise? What are we talking about? Because this would probably be close to it. Oh, a single exercise? Holy crap. Okay. If we're not including cardio, because I feel like you get cardio like going on hikes and walking. If we're talking about like a machine or you're specifically doing an exercise I would probably do the rower. I think the rowing machine would probably hit most of what you're getting out of it, and I would probably cheat a little bit. Like when I'm taking the groceries in, I'd probably do some overhead tri extensions and stuff. But if I could only do one, I really do think the rower is going to target the majority of your major muscle groups. And that is, for me, if I could only do one exercise, that's what I would do. Because you could still put on mass, and you could work on cardio, you can do HIIT workouts on it, and you can also turn it way up on the resistance and do really hard, well formed reps, and you could do some strength training as well. So I think the rower, I don't know if there's anything else that really hits every aspect of the body like that. Good question though. Shoot. All right, friends. Well, it looks like that's everything we have in the chat. What would yours be, Trader Joe? If we're all still here. Well, yeah. As Joe answers, if he wants to, I just want to send you off with this, guys. Like I said, we're focused on a community here. We're not focused purely on you just making money. To be rich in this world means so much more than just having money in your bank account. So aim to be rich in every aspect of your life, in your relationships, in your spiritual aspects of your life, your relationship with your God, and everything about it. So I encourage you guys to push-ups. All right, I like it. You can do them anywhere, anytime. Yeah, go do the hard thing today, guys. Go do something you don't want to do. Like maybe it's working out, getting back into the gym. Maybe it's having a conversation with a loved one that you don't want to have, but you know it's the right thing to do. And go pick that organic option when next time you're doing some grocery shopping, and go work out, go do cardio, go get sunlight in, man. Shoot, when's the last time you went outside, man? Go do all the hard things, guys. It's so important for us. So I love you guys. Go tell your loved ones that you love them. We always think we have more time than we really do. All right, folks, you have a good one.